Um, One of my most embarrassing moments in middle school was when I got on the bus and people started making fun of me. And some kid tried to fight me, and I was just not having it. So I got off the bus and walked home.
We last left you sharing what our parent and teacher population said was the positive parts of their middle school experience.
Now, let's finish with some of their not so positive memories.
Um, um, I didn't really like middle school. It was, I went to a private school, so it was like small and boring. And we really didn't have like a good sports program or like performing arts or like any of like the cool stuff that you're doing now. Like we didn't have like any dances. We didn't have like any of that.
I'm not a fan of middle school, so I'd say the not so nice kids. It was a transformation from one teacher and really nice kids to having multiple teachers and not so nice kids. So I'd say the hardest part was the not so nice kids.
I go up to the tree, make 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 some food, go to the drop down to the ground, and then almost die. my younger my older sister cry, and then about 10 minute I'm real life. How about you, real life?
Well, in one of my classes one day, I was in my history class, I think it was, at Hillsdale. And I said Illinois with the S because I got called up for a history question. And my teacher, Mr. Mann at the time, yelled at me and said, "You don't know how to say Illinois?" And then I bawled my eyes out for the rest of the day. And I was already shy enough, so he pretty much mortified me. And pretty much for the rest of the year, I would never raise my hand in class because I was too embarrassed. So yeah.
It was just a hard class to do, and I would learn to do the problems and the really hard math problems, and I would learn them and how to do them, and then I would teach my friends how to do them, and they would get an A on the test, and I would get a B minus because I couldn't do the problems very fast.
Getting sucker punched in the hallway between classes by one of my enemies. Sucker punched in the back, literally. And I remember we had math class together, and before he took his seat, I picked him up and threw him in the garbage can. And I remember my teacher being disappointed in me.
I guess just all the awkwardness. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate going to school every day, but when I compare to how high school was, it's like two completely different experiences. What made the awkwardness? I don't know. Awkwardness is just awkward.
I experienced a little bit of bullying in sense of people would make fun of me because I was weird. So I was just one of those kids that I just didn't care what people thought about me. So I would just run down the hall, do ballet dances and stuff like that, and people would say, "You're so weird," and I'd say, "Thank you."
I was in a choir group and I was performing a song with me and this other girl, and we were supposed to be harmonizing, but she never showed up. And so I was supposed to be the melody of the song, which people are used to listening on the radio, where it's kind of off because you're supposed to be harmonized and everything. And it sounded really weird because I was supposed to be the melody. And so my friend in the crowd started cracking up, and it's because it sounded terrible. And so I started laughing, and then everyone started laughing because they were embarrassed for me.
One of my most embarrassing moments in middle school was when a teacher called on me and I didn't know the answer.
My most embarrassing moment? Oh, it was when I had a really big pimple on my nose, and it was so big it was purple. And I remember my mom made me go to school that day. And I remember when I got to science class, my teacher actually made fun of me. And I remember I ran to the bathroom crying, and I don't think I came out until next period.
Wow, that's a good question. I think it seems to me like you guys are a lot more involved in your own education. Like they gave you some leeway and freedom to take ownership. Where for us, it was more like information was just given and then we just had to learn it and that was it. It's also pretty cool that a lot of technology that we were learning about when we were in school, you guys are actually doing, which is also pretty cool.
Computers. We didn't really have computers. I guess we had 2 or 3, some of the first computers. But we didn't each have our own computer. Or cell phones. There was no cell phones when I was in middle school.
When I was in middle school, the only social media that occurred was an old website called MySpace, and it was kind of similar to Facebook. And it used to be only for the college kids. Then they allowed younger children to have it, which I was really excited about. And I did not have an account until the end of 8th grade, but everything was sent to private. We really weren't interacting very much, but it didn't affect me as much as it probably affects children today.